Hey guys, how are you? Welcome to a Paladin's Crusade. I didn't realise anyone was watching me. Apparently there's still people out there that think that violent video games cause people to become psychopaths. I don't agree with that, so we're going to have a discussion with it now, alright?
This is an issue that is very close to my heart because I love playing video games, especially titles that depict this needlessly controversial bugbear, graphic violence. There are many games that aren't violent, but a high percentage of them certainly are. I believe that I am a well-rounded, sane human being like most people, and the implication that I am a ticking time bomb that could explode into a murderous rage at any moment because of the virtual carnage I enjoy is one that I think is both a contrived fallacy and something of an ill-founded, offensive accusation. So often, video games are blamed for tragic, heinous acts committed by individuals, usually by young people who, shockingly, are sometimes also gamers. Now, if you're watching this video, you know that a lot of people around the globe are gamers, and you can bet your favourite hat that a ludicrously high percentage of these revel in committing and perceiving violent and bloody acts digitally on a regular basis. I certainly do. Take, for example, The Last of Us. This is a gratuitously violent title, emotionally evocative in a hugely significant way, depicting horrific and morally questionable situations in such a profound manner that it moved many, including myself, to actual, real, wet, beautiful tears. It really did! If any game in the last 10 years is capable of evoking hauntingly realistic feelings of guilt, love, stress, dread, despair, and importantly, anger, it's The Last of Us. Now, this game sold, and hold on to your butts because I don't want you naysayers blowing out your self-righteous rectums, around 8 million copies. 8 million people bought this game, played it, probably loved it, and were all exposed to the powerful emotional barrage that comes with the experience. Now I present Exhibit B, Grand Theft Auto 5, an arguably far more violent game which sold 8 million in the first 24 hours of its release, reported recently to have sold 34 million copies in total. These two sales titans are only a tiny fraction of the colossal games industry. Why are we talking about sales figures? Think about it. If exposure to violent content in games was a major factor in mass shootings and other tragic events, wouldn't they happen far more frequently all across the globe? I mean, they do happen, of course they do. But if video games were a serious contributor, surely we'd see more of these 42 million people affected by this desensitization. The video games desensitize people to violence theory is a complete fabrication, as there's no evidence that exists to support it, nor do I think there ever will be. Show me some. I'm really keen to be presented with some evidence because I'm embarrassed for you. Without it, all you have is Hillary Clinton saying anything that pops into her head as if she actually did some research. Desensitized? I play a lot of video games, guys. In video games, I chainsaw people to pieces, blow up vehicles filled with innocents, and generally act like a murderous prick, bathing in the blood of the slaughtered, stabbing, beating, and exploding human beings with no sense of remorse or regret. It's some nasty over-the-top stuff to be sure, but it's fine because it's not real, and no game truly presents violence in a realistic manner. Now, when I see something real, truly abhorrent, some proper bastardry, like for example those recent and disgusting beheading videos, or the Bud Dwyer suicide footage, I'm not going to show any of it, hunt it down yourself if you feel the need to see it, I feel absolutely hollow, an awful and almost indescribable feeling which no creative medium, be it video games, books or movies, can ever hope to convey in the same manner. I hate violence. I'm relatively wary of guns even when my best friend is holding one. I don't like sharp blades, and when I'm exposed to violent events, I do my utmost to stop it or get away from it. Violence is gross and truly frightening, except when it's not real. You could say, oh, but some movies and games are really realistic. Yeah, the human mind has a way of telling the difference, my friend, even in quite realistic and gruesome titles. Even children. The difference between fantasy and reality is one of the first things we learn after we're born, and children are surprisingly adept at making this distinction. We all know the difference. Well, except for psychos. The people who commit these murders and mass killings are psychopaths, even if they themselves claim that it was video games that made them do it. Gamer is not their defining feature, troubled is, and singling out one relatively new, massively popular medium is it's just dumb. In a society where violent books, comics and movies exist, as well as the cruel and often depressing real world, it's completely unfair. It's like that kid that killed his girlfriend and said he was inspired by the television program Dexter, and people were unsurprisingly quick to point their guns at the series. It's one person who happened to watch Dexter, and out of the millions of people who have watched it, what percentage were inspired to go out and murder little Chino? It wouldn't even bloody register. Yeah, sure, a school shooter might have been a gamer, but they probably also had a shit job, an unfortunate family situation, and perhaps a bullying issue, as well as also being a goddamn psychopath. Now, the issue of young children playing violent games is an important one, and one that I think is worth discussing. Ratings exist for a reason, and for the most part will prevent your children from being able to purchase violent video games directly. If your kids are too young to be exposed to this stuff, and I do agree, 4-year-olds should probably not be playing The Evil Within, because it's scary, not because it will turn them into killers, they're probably still living at home, so don't let them play it. That's all you need to do, and it's all you have the right to do. Don't insult me by claiming that I'm some sort of nerdy, dormant murder volcano. Hearing the media spout some pseudo-intellectual phrase like desensitized to violence, it sounds real flashy, but using that as your argument without any research to back it up does not make you the frickin' Batman of human responsibility. It makes you somewhat of a dullard as well as an uninformed, nettlesome irritation. You can probably tell that I get a bit worked up about this, and I do. It's the entitled, self-righteous judgment that I just refuse to tolerate, because there comes a point where it devolves into an assault on my character. To those who think I'm a dangerous, frightening individual void of a moral code, do some research, inform yourself, and stop your silly, doomed crusade.
And that's that. That's my 2 cents, that's my piece. I had to throw it out there. I hope that if you're on the other side of the fence before watching this video, you might have been enlightened. If you're still on the other side of the fence, however, I still think you are a fool. And that's that. So, yeah, thanks for watching. And subscribe to my channel.